Nowadays, society is very weak. Just one global power outage turned it all around. At first, people went on strike, then they stopped teaching. Officers and students were delighted. But over the next few days, the supermarket was scrambled for goods until there was nothing left. The city dehydrated because hydropower plant couldn't produce water. The life of every family was not the same as before. They had to have cold food for dinner under the candlelight. There were a lot of flies and mosquitoes and dirty dishes piled up. The toilet in the house was unusable. The bad smell couldn't be borne. If they wanted to go to the outdoor toilet, they also had to queue up in long lines. Couldn't stand. What should people do without electricity? This is Survival Family, a Japanese film produced in 2017. It was voted for one of the best science fiction films. This family lived in Tokyo. After the power outage, they lived miserably for several days. When they discovered that there was an older person who lived alone had starved to death in their house. The father decided his family would return to the hometown. His family also agreed with him. They brought clothes, food and moved. The countryside was 1,000 kilometers away. So they were going to cycle to the airport. Unexpectedly, the plane also broken down. The father felt lucky, because of having paid nearly 50,000 yen for a bicycle before the power went out. So he was able to carry his wife. But along the way, they discovered money was also a big deal. Someone sold bottles of water. 1,000 yen per bottle. The father shouted, "I would never let you make a profit." However, at the next convenience store, a bottle of water's price had risen to 2,000 yen. At the next store, the price increased again up to 2,500. At this time, the mother appeared. Thanks to her bargaining skill, they bought all the water from the shopkeeper for only 600 yen. It was also considered to be a small success. The family sat on the roadside eating red bean rice balls and canned foods. The daughter disliked red beans, so she put them out, without knowing that a few days later, she would be so hungry that she ate grass. At this time they saw, there was a man camped by the lake in the park, was catching fish for food, even drying it into dried fish. What a provident man. At night, they looked for hotels. But wherever they came, hotels were closed. It was difficult to find a hotel. But one person had to pay 30,000 yen. The next day, the husband and his wife looked for a bike everywhere. They need one more for the mother. Finally they found a bicycle in a rice shop. But in front of the rice shop, people lined up. On the second week when the whole world went out of power, money wasn't valuable. The rich also had difficulties. In a rice shop, someone used a fish to exchange for some rice. The next giant took off his Rolex watch to exchange it for rice. But he was rejected. Then he took a set of keys of his Maserati. But he was kicked out by the owner once again. She didn't need expensive things. The rich stood outside the door, holding LV bag, fur coat, painting, porcelain vase. Had to leave. At this time, the parents entered. Negotiated that they wanted to get the owner of the rice shop's bicycle. They took out a bottle of mineral water and 2 bottles of wine. In the end, they exchanged a bicycle and a rice bag. The family was cycling on the highway. The immediate sight dumbfounded them. The highway was full of refugees. Some people were windsurfing. Others were wearing skates. Most people could only pull their luggage on foot. Slow and tired. It turned out the family cycling was much happier than everyone else. In the evening, the family couldn't find a hotel. So they had to rest on the grass. The family next to them shyly asked them for a bottle of water. Although they sympathized, their family's life was much more important. Therefore, they refused, and silently covered the bottles with a shirt. At midnight, the family slept in canvas. The sun was too cold to sleep, so he woke up. Suddenly, he saw someone stealing his family's water. The thief rushed away. The son chased immediately. Finally, he discovered that person stole water to make the formula for the baby. The son felt sorry. He put down the stick, came back quietly. The next day, they came to a tunnel. In front of the cellar, there are some blind old women providing tunneling services. The family felt unnecessary, so they drove in themselves. In the dark tunnel, if you weren't careful, you would hit a few cars that stopped there. Even trample on animal carcasses. That was out of their wits, they had to come back. They dealt with the blind old woman to be brought out of the tunnel. The next few days, this family found a stream. Then they washed clothes. The father drank water out of the last bottle. He was so thirsty that he ran to the stream and drank water there. His family advised him not to drink. He did not only listen to them but also said that they were weak. Soon after, there were a so huge storm that the family just had to shelter from the rain at the bridge pier. When they saw 4 bicycles knocked over by the wind, they were so worried. Suddenly the father stood up, ran down to the meadow. Did number 2. Due to drinking water in the stream, he had a stomachache. Till the rain stopped, they found their luggage was damaged. Broken computer, wet matches, broken bicycle tires, dirty clothes. The worst thing is that the exchanged rice was spilled onto the street. This time they ran out of the food. The father was so worried that he fainted. He was sick, must be taken care of by his wife. The daughter and son went to a supermarket, came in and found that the food shelf had been empty. Tires were also gone. Matches were over. The 2 of them changed their minds. The son found the super glue. The daughter found a lot of cat's food cans. The boy found some blue bottles of water and he drank it. Because he knew this was distilled water and drinkable. After that, this boy returned to his parents, threw away the phone, kept the rubber phone case, cut it out to patch tires. The boy had been aware of taking responsibility. After 20-day cycling, they arrived at Osaka. But the truth was, Osaka also had no electricity. They blamed on each other. The children began to blame their father for making the wrong decision, and just pretend. This time the father was also scared. The family had eaten all the cat's food, and ran out of food. They had no control over their life. Fortunately, they saw an aquarium park handing out food. The 43rd day the world lost power. The aquarium became a source of seafood. The staff pushed each fish cart out, and shared with everyone because of their hunger. Big fish was used for baking. Crab was used for steaming. The family queued up hurriedly. After half a day, there was no food for them. Although the father always valued dignity, he knelt down, tried to get some food, but the aquarium park was completely out of food. The 67th day of the global power outage. The spirit and strength of the family had weakened. They were dirty, their skins were darker a lot. The worst thing was that they were both hungry and thirsty. They rest in a field. The father caught a worm, was going to eat it. Suddenly he heard a pig cry. Pigs, pigs. 4 people frantically ran towards the pig. Nevertheless, it was faster and more powerful than them. They were dead tired. Opportunely, in the end the pig fell on his own. Boom. They laughed out loud. They finally had meat. It was difficult for them to kill the pig, because no one dares to do that. Suddenly, an old man shouted, walked towards them, then took the knife to cut the pig's period. The old man was the owner of the nearby farm. This pig ran out from his place. The family thought they could have delicious meal. Everyone was still hungry. The old man took them home. He offered them to drink well water. The family rushed to, and drank unstoppably. After that the old man also cooked meal for them. There were cucumber, cabbage, omelette and hot rice. The 4 of them ate rapidly. The old man also brought out more bacon for them. They picked up and chewed immediately. Chewing noise resounded throughout the house. The little girl cried while eating. This is what people call crying in happiness. He decided to help the family. And they had to help him instead. The family was willing to return the man's favor. They chopped pork, then rubbed salt, prepared to smoke out pork. In the evening they helped the old man set a fire and get water. Finally they took the shower. The following day, they caught pigs. Because the old man's electric fence couldn't run, his pigs ran out. They tried their best to get all the pigs back. Though the family was tired, they still laughed happily among the pigs. They had never experienced this joy when living in the city. Labor always made people happy. While they were living here, they knew the old man was a lonely man. His son settled in America. He always expected him to return. But there was no news. The family thought if they had been the old man, they would have also expected and worried like that. They decided to return to their hometown. They said goodbye to the old man. The old man gave them lots of food. That made them feel a little fearful. But the old man said, I have to thank you who have been with me these days. Then he saw them off. The family was determined to go. Despite many difficulties coming home. In a fast-flowing river, they lost their father. Even the dog ate all the food in the woods. In the end, they were rescued by a train. The father used a firecracker to signal, so his son could come to save him. They finally reached Kagoshima. They saw children's grandfather on the beach. They rushed to the old man. The family was reunited. Time went by. It had been The mother knew how to grow vegetables. The daughter learned to embroider. In spite of the life without electricity, everyone smiled happily. But right now, power came back. The village speaker rang out. Each streetlight glowed. Everyone who saw this scene was not happy, but just a little panicked. Movie ended. The family went back to Tokyo. Got back to the busy and boring life in the city. Global power outage events cause had yet to be found. But people didn't like thinking about the past. Just wanted to step forward. Although simple life made us happy, we were never satisfied with what we had. Whatever the desire, always came along with pressure, separation, and breakup. People were only pursuing material things. Do people really understand what life is about?